11 warning signs that you are eating a lot of sugar. Who does not love sweet? It seems that everything rich has sugar, but consuming too much can cause very serious health problems. I know it can be very difficult to avoid all foods rich in sugar, like sweet bread, cakes, sweets, and soft drinks. According to the American Heart Society, the maximum amount of added sugar you can eat per day is 150 calories or 37 grams in men and 100 calories or 25 grams a day in women. This limit is easily passed by taking just 1 can of Coke a day. High blood sugar is a silent enemy that can go a long time undetected, and by the time we detect it, it may already be very late. The organism has given certain symptoms that for many of us can go unnoticed or attributed to other reasons. It is important to detect glycemic or blood sugar problems as soon as possible, to prevent diabetes, metabolic syndrome, and all its complications. Before we dive in, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and turn on notifications to stay up to date with our updates. The number one sign is constant hunger and a great desire to eat something sweet all the time. One of the most frequent symptoms that occur when we are eating a lot of sugar without control is constant hunger. If you have noticed that you are hungry frequently, and it calms down just eating more sweets, or it barely calms down for a while, and you are hungry again, it can be a symptom of hormonal problems that lead to diabetes later on, especially if you start to feel the need to eat sweets in the afternoon and at night. If we eat too much sugar routinely in the short term, we will begin to need to eat frequently, especially sweets and flour. To avoid this problem, it is necessary to maintain a balanced diet that contains 30% carbohydrates and try to eat with little sugar during the day. Never neglect the consumption of vegetables, proteins, legumes, nuts, dairy products, and in general, foods that provide minerals, vitamins and macronutrients. Number 2, you feel tired all the time. One of the earliest symptoms of having blood sugar problems is tiredness. This extreme weakness occurs because glucose cannot enter the cells for energy for all body functions. This imbalance in energy produces tiredness or chronic fatigue. People feel exhausted with sleepiness and a lot of weakness. You have to be aware of the signals that your own body provides. If you have slept well and a level of daily activity leaves you very tired, you may have problems due to ingesting a lot of sugar. In these cases, always take into account that it is important to eat little sugar, and never exceed the amount of sweets, flour, cakes or pastries. Experts recommend not adding extra sugar to drinks or meals. Moderate consumption of fruits and carbohydrates in the diet. Sign number 3, you have changes in weight. Another frequent sign that you are eating a lot of sugar, and you may have a glycemic problem, is the change in body weight. In the initial phases, the response to excessive sugar consumption is to increase the level of insulin. To level these values, that excessive production causes a metabolic change in which you can even diet and not lose any weight. That happens to many people who diet and do not see any weight loss. This hormonal imbalance is regulated by correcting diet habits and eliminating excess accumulated body fat progressively. In people who have weight loss problems, without being on any type of diet and despite eating sugar in sufficient quantities, this occurs due to dehydration and metabolic alteration generated by the consumption of muscle proteins to obtain energy instead of being used. The glucose that we are consuming in the diet, usually, it happens in more advanced stages. Sign number 4, frequent urination. Another frequent symptom of sugar problems is frequent urination. If you have noticed lately that you have to go to the bathroom more frequently to urinate but do not have any other type of symptoms or changes in the color of your urine or burning, it could be a problem of diabetes or high blood sugar. It is a common symptom of diabetes and occurs because the high level of sugar in the blood causes fluid to be distributed from the body differently. Excess sugar is eliminated by the kidneys, but carries with it a lot of water that is eliminated with urine. If you are already diabetic, there are also cases that are associated with overactive bladder that cannot retain a large amount of urine, but this is due to the alterations at the level of the nerves at the peripheral level that diabetes produces in the medium and long term. It is important to stay hydrated by drinking at least 2 liters of water a day. Many of the problems associated with sugar are linked to hydration. Sign number 5, You are very thirsty. Another important sign that indicates that you may be consuming too much sugar or that you have high blood sugar levels is the feeling of excessive thirst, which occurs regardless of the temperature of the environment or physical activity. The main cause of excessive thirst is the dehydration effect produced by high sugar levels in the blood. Also, dry mouth and also dryness of the skin and mucous membranes, although the effects of dehydration at the skin level can be improved with moisturizing creams. Sign number 6, you are very sleepy as well as tired and weak. Changes in the pattern of sleep can be indicative that you are eating a lot of sugar. These changes can be from insomnia or lack of sleep to excessive sleep that is also not restorative. Metabolic changes that cause excess sugar lead to protein loss as well as loss of fluids and electrolytes that ultimately cause these sleep disturbances among other effects. To counteract this consequence of excess sugar, it is important to comply with a balanced diet and avoid excessive carbohydrate intake, particularly at night. Distribute the consumption of sugars during the week, and prefer to eat those during the morning or the afternoon. Signal number 7, predisposition to infections. Infections are another frequent problem in people who consume a lot of sugar or have blood sugar. The symptoms could be minimal or even not present at all, making this type of infection go unnoticed for a long time. But not only urinary infections are present in these cases, gastrointestinal infections with frequent diarrhea due to parasitic problems or changes in the intestinal flora, as well as skin infections, especially those caused by fungi such as Candida, which can be seen in folds and moist areas. Although these infections do not necessarily mean that there is a problem with your blood sugar, if you have this type of infection on a recurring basis, talk to your doctor. Signal number 8, impotence. Another of the effects that generate a lot of discomfort and concern in men is impotence. This is an alarming symptom. There are several causes that can cause impotence in men. In the first place, we have alterations at the level of the small nerves that carry sensitivity. Nerve damage brings, as a direct consequence, a decrease in the signals that go from the brain to the organs that allow them to maintain or achieve their function effectively. In addition, problems are associated with the blood vessels and the flow of blood to non-vital tissues. Finally, the damage to muscle fibers that produces high blood glucose causes damage to muscle fibers at the pelvic level, closely related to impotence. Fortunately, this type of effect can be reversible. Number 9, lack of concentration and irritability. One of the aspects that begins to be seen in the early stages with a very high consumption of sugars is the changes in mood, irritability, difficulty paying attention, making decisions, and ability to concentrate. Number 10, blurred vision. Another important sign that can indicate that you have problems with your sugar is vision issues. Several things can occur, but the most common symptom is blurred vision, difficulty seeing objects to the sides, and even eye pain. All these disorders are associated with glycemic problems. In general also because the retina begins to be altered due to microcirculation problems. Signal number 11, slow healing and bleeding. One of the effects that draw attention when you are eating a lot of sugar is that the wounds heal very slowly or there is bleeding. In other circumstances, it is possible to stop the bleeding with just a simple pressure, but not in these cases. We hope that this video was helpful. If you have anything to add, please share it with us in the comments. Like this video and send a link to your family and your best friends, so they also know the signs of when they are eating too much sugar. If you are new to our channel, do not forget to subscribe.